This week we will be learning about settling the West and something called manifest destiny. Let's have a quick geography lesson to refresh our memory. When we left off with American independence, settlers really only lived in the eastern part of the country, from the Atlantic Ocean to the Mississippi River. Over time, Americans wanted to explore and claim these unknown areas. But did you know that different nations already claimed parts of the land west of the Mississippi? Spain, France, Great Britain, and Russia had all staked their claims on that area west of the Mississippi. So what's the new kid on the block, that's us, gonna do about it? Well, in 1803, we bought most of the land between the Mississippi River and the Rocky Mountains. We purchased it from the French. This was called the Louisiana Purchase. Why was this important? Port cities. If the U.S. could control the Mississippi River and its port city of New Orleans, then they could ship more goods to other ports, which was way faster than going by wagon. Oh, right, back to France. So, the only problem is that France owned New Orleans. The president at the time, Thomas Jefferson, decided he wanted to buy New Orleans, and his budget was $10 million, tops. France said, we have to think about it. Thomas Jefferson sent James Monroe and Robert Livingston to strike a deal with the French. Finally, France said, okay, here's the deal. We'll only sell for $15 million, but you get the whole Louisiana territory. The whole thing? Boy, I can't wait to tell Tommy. Good job, boys. Proud of you. So the Louisiana Purchase was a pretty sweet deal for the Americans. It opened the door for America to explore more and settle further areas to the west. The idea of manifest destiny became an American dream in the years following the Louisiana Purchase. Manifest destiny was the American belief in the 1800s that it was the natural right of the United States to expand westward to the Pacific Ocean. A well-known example of westward expansion in the United States is the Lewis and Clark expedition. Full disclosure, I don't know which one is Lewis and which one is Clark, so it could be wrong labeling there. President Jefferson wanted to know what our $15 million had bought, so he sent Meriwether Lewis and William Clark to explore the lands to the west. The two main goals of the expedition were to map the Louisiana Territory, and they also wanted to find the Northwest Passage. It was important to map this new territory so they knew what the land had in store for them. It was equally as important to President Thomas Jefferson that they were able to try and find a water route across North America. Previously, they would have to go all the way around South America to make it to the Pacific Ocean. If they could find a straight shot through North America, it would make it so much faster and a lot easier to trade with Asia. In May of 1804, Lewis and Clark started up the Missouri River from St. Louis, Missouri. They took a company of men and they were exploring the area that is followed in that purple line right there. One of the most interesting things about Lewis and Clark is that they spent quite a bit of time in North Dakota, so we have a lot of things named after Lewis and Clark in our state. The group finally made it to the Pacific Ocean in November of 1805. Throughout their expedition, they discovered that there was no Northwest Passage. Oh. Although they didn't reach that goal, they were able to make a lot of maps and to make other scientific discoveries and bring back samples to learn from. They were able to explore a large portion of the new area that the United States had acquired. So how did the United States become the area it is today? Well, throughout the years, we took the idea of manifest destiny and we kept expanding westward, finding new areas for our settlers to live and prosper. After we purchased the Louisiana Territory in 1803, we also acquired the area that is now mostly Florida. That was acquired in 1819 from the Spanish. In the meantime, Americans started to set their eyes upon Texas. Many Americans lived in Texas, which was controlled by Mexico. After a long war, they became their own independent state, and in 1845, the United States agreed to take on Texas as part of the greater United States. In 1846, the Americans made a settlement with Britain to gain the Oregon Country. The rest of the continental United States came under the Americans' control after another war. Mexico was not happy that the United States had taken over Texas, and so they ended up going to war to fight for the area in Orange. In the end, America won, and Mexico agreed to give that area to the United States. The United States also bought the purple area, called the Gadsden Purchase, in 1853. That completes our United States map, except for, of course, Alaska, Hawaii, and other areas that we are in control of. Although westward expansion was a pretty sweet deal for most Americans, the group who suffered the most were the Native Americans. Their entire way of life changed when people decided to move west into the lands that they used to live on. They were moved into new homes in new areas called reservations, and they weren't able to continue the same practices or lifestyles that they used to. Many tribes suffered huge losses from disease, war, and other conflicts. Native Americans' lives were forever changed after westward expansion. Although this is a harsh truth of our past, through the good and the bad, these are all parts of America's history. And to think, it all started with Tommy. Hey, don't look at me. I know this video got kind of long, but thank you guys for watching, and I hope this helps you with your map and with catching up with our social studies for this week. Bye!